scratch that first one.
Yeah. All right. So I press record again. What did you say again?
Okay, so I think I had this insight, this epiphany the other day. I made a little video about it, but I wanted to hear your feedback. Basically, what occurred to me was that thinking about the need to be disciplined can provide an obstacle to your training. And what brought this about was basically that I realized that when I'm at my peak, when I'm really enjoying training and I'm training hard and I'm getting the best out of it, is when I'm just immersing myself in the training and loving it for what it is, instead of thinking about how I need to do it, because I need to be disciplined to have it done. It's like, I catch myself thinking that, like with my diet, that's what really brought it about. The thought the other day was, I kind of like junk out in the late evenings, and I was thinking to myself, I need to have more discipline in the late evenings. But really, I think maybe that kind of thinking is what makes the obstacle for me, because myself, what I tend to do is when I think I'm being forced to do something, then I kind of rebel against it, right? Even if it's myself that's forcing me to do something, I probably find a way to rebel against it. And maybe my junking out in the evening times is kind of my own rebellion against my other nutrition that I do during the day. And I think it would be the same thing, throughout my training in the martial arts and in other dimensions of my life, that where, if I really want to be my best and do my best, my head has to be into the enjoyment of what I'm doing, rather than in that kind of mindset where I'm thinking to myself, I'm forcing myself to do this because it's good for me or whatever. It's better if I, instead of thinking about discipline, that I just think about the joy of what I'm doing, and that and being in that moment of what I'm doing. So I wanted to run that idea past you, because I know, like, I've heard in some of your really early videos, maybe your first year and a half on YouTube, I remember hearing you talk about how, somebody that's beginning training especially might need to discipline them to have discipline at first, but then your body becomes accustomed to what you're doing, and then you crave it almost. But I'm thinking now that even thinking about things in terms of the discipline can provide an obstacle for anybody, like at least like myself, that has a tendency to try to resist or rebel any kind of force, and that maybe it'd be better just to be telling yourself, instead of telling yourself you're doing this because you're disciplined, you're being disciplined, tell yourself that you're doing this because you enjoy it, So what's your feedback on that?
I think, like, that our lives, they're meant to be cherished, and we should appreciate our lives. And basically, I think a very important aspect of our lives is just basically doing what we enjoy and what we love to do. But I guess some of the problems is that if people develop habits that are not healthy, and they it could destroy their lives or just take away from their lives, then it becomes the problem. So I think it's more about like developing healthy habits and just enjoying what you do. I think, like, but people could be like, oh, I enjoy eating hamburgers all day, so what's wrong with that? Well, the problem, I think, is that when you enjoy things that are leading towards unhealthiness, then I think that it could require like an inner change where you could develop healthier habits that will replace that habit that's unhealthy. So like if you just love like eating fruits, it's not like you need discipline. It's just that you love eating it. It's just a part of you, you know. Some people love to play. A lot of people love to play video games, but it encourages like you to be like inactive and like lazy. But if you just change that habit into like enjoying to exercise or enjoying to play soccer or basketball, whatever the case may be, then you just replace the like an unhealthy habit to something healthier. And I think that's what it boils down to. And you know, because the martial arts is so like vast and it incorporates so much, I think it just allows more opportunities for you to discover for yourself what you find joy in doing. So then it doesn't like limit you to just doing, like forcing yourself to do something that is not really that fun, or something that you really don't really that enjoy that much. You know, like some people, they might like running, but then they might get they might start getting bored of it, and then it becomes like a burdensome. Like, I don't want to just keep running because it's just something that, like, I want to do something else. So then it's hard for them to stay committed to that. But in the martial arts, it's almost like anything can be part of your development in the martial arts. You like to read, well, that's part of the martial arts, like reading. You like to write, well, that's part of your development in the martial arts. You like to run, well, that's part of the martial arts as well. You like to jump rope, that's part of the martial arts. You like to play with the wooden man, that's part of the martial arts. You like to hit the heavy bat, that's part of the martial arts. You like to practice forms, that's part of the martial arts. You like to dance, that's a part of the martial arts. You like to kick and punch, that's a part of the martial arts. You like to lift weights, that's part of the martial arts. You like to do calisthenics, that's part of the martial arts. I mean, it's so vast that you should be able to find something that you truly do enjoy doing, opposed to like forcing yourself to do something that you don't want to do. You know, and then I see that when you've gotten to the point where you don't have to force yourself, where you just do it because you enjoy doing it, that to me, it ends up becoming, that's your way of life. Like, it's just something that it doesn't require discipline, because that's just the way that you are. You know, discipline's more like, you know, the way that the people use the word discipline, it's more like forcing somebody to do something that they don't really want to do. And that to me is not real, like, kung fu, or like a development of real, like, truthful talent. So you see it in America a lot, where you got like professional athletes that are forcing themselves to do something they really don't want to do, and they're doing it because they want the money or they want the fame. And once that goes away, you see that they just let themselves go, because it wasn't really in them to begin with. Like, it's not really truly their way of life. Like, it's more like work. You know, like, discipline is more like the way that the people use that terminology is more like forcing somebody to do something like just overboard. Like, somebody, instead of working out in the gym for an hour a day, they'll stay in the gym 8 hours a day because they want to win that bodybuilding competition. And they don't want to be there for 8 hours. They're just doing it because they want to win something. You know, and then that requires like an unnatural way of like force, and then that's what people may use to say that that's discipline. When in actuality, that's not like true, in my eyes, that's not like true kung fu. True kung fu to me is like more natural, and it's not forced. It's just something that the person just like, it's just a part of his life. Like, this is what he just likes to do, and he enjoys doing it. Now, he may not progress as quickly as the person that's forcing himself to do something that he doesn't want to do, but in the long run, he will be at a higher stage of development, in my eyes. You know, in the long run. Like, 9 years later, this guy just keeps at it, and it's just like a natural progression over a period of 90 years, opposed to somebody who just works like extremely hard through force for a period of 20 years, and then just basically burns out and dies or just burns out because he's just overdoing it. Like, it's not natural. You know, and that's what you see a lot in professional sports. A lot of unnatural development. Like, even you see it in the bodybuilders. I mean, they look that way because it's unnatural. They might be in the gym for 8 hours a day. They might be dehydrating themselves. They might be taking steroids. It's all unnatural. It's not even natural motivation. You know what I mean? Because if you take away all the money, you take away all the fame, you take away all the attention, then are they still going to do it? Probably not. I mean, there's a lot of people that I've met where if they don't make it to the NBA, if they don't make it to the college basketball, they don't play basketball anymore. Well, why is that? Well, because they were after the money, the fame, the attention, the trophies. They weren't there for the love of the sport. Because if they truly loved the sport, they would still play regardless if they make it to the college or NBA. You know? And
right.
True martial artists to me are people that just practice because they just love it. It's not because they need to win a title or win trophies or impress anybody. It's just a part of them. And that is to me the real Kung Fu. And the real meaning of the Kung Fu is like, it's like that inner discipline, which is differently than what the people normally associate with discipline. It's the inner discipline that's just natural. Like it's just there. Like it's just not like something that you force. You know, and anytime you feel that you're forcing something, I think that maybe means that you're maybe imbalanced. Maybe you need to take some time off. Maybe you need to spend some time doing something that you do like to do. Like maybe you spent too much time in the gym, and maybe you need to let like really relax and do something that you enjoy. Like don't force yourself to go to the gym when you don't want to do that. Like what do you like to do? Like if you want to play video games, then go ahead play video games. You know, if that's what you want to do. Like just let yourself enjoy what you want, and then once you enjoy what you want, then eventually there should naturally become a balance. Because then when you play too many video games, you're like, man, I feel like crap, man. I want to move around. So then you want to exercise a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's like like when you eat junk food, yeah, go ahead eat it. But hey, your body's gonna tell you, man, that didn't make me feel too good, man. So then your body's gonna want the healthy stuff, you know. And then you eat too much healthy stuff, and then you're like, man, your body's like, you know, I want some sugar, I want some ice cream, I want some of this. It's okay. It's like let your body be natural, but overall, you should always be like, you know what, like I want to head towards health, but I don't have to like force myself. But at least like I know in perspective, I have it in perspective. Like health is what I want to aim towards. You know,
right.
So basically, it boils down to like developing like healthy habits. You know, like eating junk food is not like a horrible thing, but I think when you eat healthy enough, your body is gonna repel the junk food. Like that's what my body does. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One of the analogies that I had used in the video was like say somebody wants to learn how to play guitar, right? Well, there's gonna be a guy that's like thinking in that with that framework of the discipline, and he's gonna be thinking, well, I'm gonna set aside an hour every evening from 5 to 6. I'm gonna sit and practice guitar. Okay? And so, you know, he'll do that, and it's almost like, you know, he's forcing himself. Well, sorry, I think the video paused there for a minute.
Yeah.
Anyway, the guy's forcing himself to practice for this hour at evening, and then there's another guy who's going to learn how to play guitar, but all he does is like, he really wants to play guitar. So he's got the guitar like attached at his hip. He carries it around with him all these different places he goes. Whenever he's got 10 minutes or 20 minutes, he's practicing playing guitar. And this guy, just because he really loves, you know, what he's doing, I think, like I've seen it happen, those guys will learn, you know, a lot more, hey? And they'll enjoy the experience a lot more than the guy who's trying to force it with the discipline thing. You know, I think if you really want to be at your, you know, you get the most out of it, the most joy and the most progress and all of that, like getting that idea of discipline out of your head, even if it's something where you are trying to break bad habits and stuff, but as long as you're thinking about it as something you have to do, you know, instead of thinking about it as something you want to do, then you're putting a block on yourself almost, you know?
I think it depends on the person, really. I mean, I think like for you, the way that you are, it's very different than most people. Like for example, like you just naturally don't like the whole idea of the ranking thing, right? For example, right? Like that's not like it's not like an average person doesn't think that way, you know. So I think like you naturally have like a rebellious spirit, and that's the same with me as well. And that's not an average person, you know. So I think like the way that you find success in how you develop yourself, of like not focusing on discipline, it works for you, but I don't think it'll work for the majority of the people. I think the majority of the people kind of need that, like that somebody there to push them. For example, like you're still training, you're doing everything. Just the fact of you being in Skype training already requires like a certain level of like inner discipline that most people just don't have. So like just expecting people to all have what you have, I think is not like it's not reasonable. I think most people, they need that extra push, you know, to get to the point where they could be more self-driven, you know, like you know, you notice it, you know what I mean? Like most people, they probably won't even go to college if there wasn't a degree when they're done, you know what I'm saying? Whereas you should be educating yourself regardless of whether or not there's the degree there or not. But most people don't think that way. You know, they always want like some type of reward or something, you know, or something to show that, hey, this is what I did, you know. And I've been trying to work with this mentality in relation to what I do when I teach, is that I don't want to teach people to seek for rewards. I want them to just enjoy the experience for what it is. But at the same time, if I don't accommodate for some of these people, it could hurt the business, you know. But if I could get to the point where I could develop enough people that have this inner understanding, then I don't need to work with those other people, you know. But I think the majority of people, like they benefit from, like, in a way, disciplining them or something of that nature, you know. But it's not, clearly that's not for everybody. It's not for you, and it's probably not. It's probably not for me either. But we're different, you know. And I think most people, though, that I noticed, they need, you know, they need to kind of put themselves in some type of schedule or some sort of discipline, or whatever the case may be. You got a lot of people out there that smoke like maybe 3 packs of cigarettes a day, and then they gotta learn to break that. So then they gotta think about it, you know. Or people that never exercise, and then they gotta learn to get into exercise routine, you know. So I think it's different methods for different people, you know. And when I train people, I gotta see where they're at and try to accommodate for them. But it is really annoying trying to accommodate for the people that need rewards for everything. It's like you gotta constantly give out cookies. You know what I'm saying? It's like, as long as you're paying for the cookies, then I'll give you the cookie. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but it just doesn't. You know, it's like if I'm like paying all this stuff to make you like, hey, you know, if you do 1 jumping jack, let me give you $1 for every jumping jack you do. It's like, I mean, I'm gonna go broke. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just like they always want you to give them something, and it's not good to feed into that, because then you just keep teaching them that, hey, you know, if I don't get something for doing this, then I just won't do it. So that it doesn't. A lot of times it's not good either. You know, like it's just like an artificial way of like helping people progress, but then they just go back to their originality because it's been artificial to begin with. You know, unless the person is like, he knows that he doesn't have discipline, so he'll just pay for a personal trainer to give him discipline for the rest of his life. You know what I'm saying? And essentially, that's what the economy is dependent on. It's like the restaurants make money when you don't cook for yourself. So then they don't want you to cook for yourself. They want to be there for cook for you as long as you pay them money. So then, just like the people that go to barbershops, like they're dependent on you to be dependent on them. So like basically the economy is structured in a way where they're kind of trying to teach the people to depend on other people to deliver what they want for themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and it's understandable, and in a way that's helping my business, that I interact with people that feel like they need my help. You know, because if they're all self-disciplined completely, then it's gonna be hard to make money. It's gonna be hard to run a business.
Right.
You know, so like in a way, I'm thankful that there are people out there that aren't disciplined. You know what I'm saying? Because then they could come to me to get discipline. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
You know, it works out. You know. So
well, I gotta take off.
Okay. So when are you training? Is it tonight, maybe?
Well, yeah, maybe tonight if I still got some energy left after.